So tonight we're going to look at pepper mills. We're going to look at woods to use, woods not to use, the type of kits available out there, the styles, and we're going to turn a simple one. And I've got some that I've turned over the last few days just to get my hand back into it because I haven't turned one for a little while, and we can look at those. So most domestic hardwoods are food safe. Before you apply any sort of food safe finish or oils, a lot of domestic hardwoods are safe. So you're looking at the likes of your ash, your oak, beech, sycamore, maple, your fruitwoods, holly, walnut, mahogany, teak, bamboo, and my favourite wood of all to turn, but probably the most expensive, olive. All of those woods, before you put a finish on, are relatively food safe. There are some, however, and I'm sure you're aware from your other turning, of woods not to use. If you're doing a fruit bowl or something that's going to be used for food, then the woods you want to avoid are your likes of your pine, your yew, birch, boxwood, eucalyptus, laburnum, sported woods. Obviously, the sporting is from the fungal spores, and you don't want that getting into food. And then a lot of the exotic woods out there. Now, there are ways of using these woods to make pepper mills or fruit bowls. You can use various finishes. Make sure that the wood's all sealed, so polyurethane finish over the top of it. On the market, there's loads of different kits, and I'm sure those of you that have made them in the past, you've got the likes of Axminster, Procraft, Turner's Retreat, they all sell different types of kit. People say to turn a pepper mill, you need special tools. Not necessarily. You can make a lot of pepper mills with your normal tools, your spindle gouge, your parting tools. For those that use carbides, you can use those. So as I said, these are the different grinding mechanisms available. So the plastic, the metal, and the ceramic. And then we'll look at the kits. So this is the first kit I was saying about. You have the 25mm hole all the way through for your peppercorns. You have your 38mm hole for the bottom grinding bit. And then the plastic piece then takes I believe it's 36mm hole for that to go in. Lots of faffing around, lots of different measurements, and one of the cheaper kits available. This kit, as I said, the ones I use are from Procraft. They have the metal spring retainer rather than the plastic piece with a ceramic end, and they're so easy to put together. It's a 25mm hole all the way through, a 7mm hole up the top, and a 38mm hole in the bottom. Now, I don't do my 38mm holes with a drill piece. I can't see the point in going out and buying a Forstner bit. I just solely take the bit away, keep offering the piece up, and use my parting tool. You've then got, these are either known as the crush grind or the pro grind. I've seen several different names for these. These are really nice kits as well. And people say when you do one of these, you need a special tool for the little plastic lug. The plastic lug is there for when you put one of these kits into metal. If you squeeze that as you insert it in, that will help hold the kit in. You don't need to put an extra groove in so many millimeters up inside to take that lug. And I'll show you one that I've done in a minute. You've then got like the crank handle, so it has the same mechanism down the bottom, but rather than twisting the bit of wood on the top or whatever you want to use, you don't have to use wood. You can use acrylic or resin for those that turn resin. This has a crank handle. And then you have the old-fashioned styled gear ones. These are quite decorative. Generally go on the top of a box. So you'll grind the pepper in the top. It'll drop through, and then a little lid on the bottom, should we say, that you lift the mechanism off, and then you can just pick the pepper out with your fingers. And the shapes and styles are up to you. So as I was saying, styles, stand back a bit. So you've got the traditional style pepper mill that's normally got the rounder bit on the top, the body shapes in with some beads and a flat piece, and then the grinder recessed in the bottom. You've got the modern style pepper mill, as I would call it, that's more triangular, dips in. Again, this is the grinder in the bottom. That's the ceramic. And this one has a plastic one, where this one has a metal. It all depends on the kits you get. There's a turner from Germany that makes really thin candlesticks that taper in and then taper out again. I really like his style. So this is one that I tried to replicate with a grinder, and this is the sort of style we'll do this evening. This one, we work on thirds when we're turning. Not quite happy where it goes thin, but this has the crush. Nope, where's the crush grind? The crush grind's in the special one. Again, this is a 10mm grinder kit. The shape's different. This is just a simple piece of ash with ebonizing lacquer and embellishing wax, added in, sanded back, and then that's got a final coat of microcrystalline over the top. Let's pop them down there. And then my wife is a massive wine drinker. And when we have people around for dinner, there's always a bottle of wine on the table. So I tried to be clever and do a bottle of wine with a corkscrew in as a grinder. So this has got the push fit kit in. There's no extra groove. I just squeezed in the lugs, pushed it in, and there we go. And all you do, pull the lid off, fill it up with your corns, and then it pushes back on. So the shapes are entirely up to you on what you want to turn. So tonight we're going to look at the ProCraft kit. Where is it? Which is a kit that uses the spring retainer. So there's no extra measurements to do. This just pushes in. The spring goes on top, the grinder. Tonight we've got a piece of cherry. Styles and Baits were very limited on their wood selection when I placed an order the other day. This is a 75mm by a foot. Now we don't need the whole foot, but what I tend to do is you watch a lot of videos and they'll tell you to cut this bit off here and make that the lid. Then you turn the rest of it as the bottom, but you don't get the grain match. So I'll put a little bit. It's a little bit more faffy, but I like the grain match, especially when you get a nice piece of wood. I think it's important to match the grain up. So we'll start by rounding this down. We'll put a tenon on the end so we can put it in the jaws. I've got a set of gripper jaws on the end here. And in the middle, I've got one of the Axminster chuck carriers. So you can put an MT2 center without having to take off the chuck. Let's put my eyes on. Before I rough the whole blank between centers, I'm just going to put a tenon on the end. There we go. A little bit more. I know that my jaw ideally are 50mm. So we can now grip this with the gripper jaws, and it'll be a lot safer